is still Sunday, July 28th, 2024. It's currently 7:44 p.m. And as you are aware, if you're following via podcast and or through the video documentation, that actually you can. It's up, not uploaded yet to the YouTube channel, but it is up. It is all uploaded. All the evidence is shared on a Google Drive, which will also become public for the world to witness. As I had before, after being kidnapped, and documentation being removed off the internet, relocating to Los Angeles, and the government continuously engaging in what is intentionally communicating a threat with an intent to kidnap and or murder me, intending to sacrifice me, and group stalking in helicopters, which is the highest threat that the state poses to you, while stalking you in an entirely artificially engineered environment. It's entirely demonic. While I show the light source that remains over me for 12 plus hours at one address, which was the P.O.C., as I documented well before relocating to LA, but as I relocated to LA in 2023 and began documenting the real-time threat posed to my life on an ongoing basis by the state that engaged in stalking and surveillance, harassment, and terrorism using helicopters to communicate that direct threat, which the entity knows that I documented, and it specifically engaged in that criminal act to communicate that specific threat. The entity that's engaging in surveillance knows very well, first of all, who I am, but also the fact that I routinely documented it. So the entity that does so with the criminal purpose to communicate that very specific threat, which it knows that you understand. Okay. And it is reasonably construed as a threat to your life when you're being stalked and kept under surveillance utilizing helicopters. Okay. It is also reasonably construed by any person. And it is also not impossible or outside of the bounds of existing law that you are stalking in helicopters. Stalking has the same exact definition, including when it's in a helicopter. But the pattern of conduct is such that it's not just stalking on its face, where you are identifying stalking. It's also stalking that's identified through the demonic signature that the demon possessed maintain, that they leave where the stalking in helicopter occurs. And so that's what I captured today. And you can see at the bottom on July 28, 2024, at 6:58 is when the video ended. I captured the video starting at 6:40 p.m. where my life is threatened. Everything that you hear, everything that you see, you can see engineered light on the wall. You can see engineered light on the wall. You can hear the amplified helicopter activity, and the entity is keeping a fake sun over the hotel. This is all a matter of an ongoing threat that's posed to my life while I am on podcast, in images, and on video, capturing while the entity engages in a ceaseless engagement in a perpetual sex offense, while group stalking, criminal surveillance, the ongoing conspiracy by a government to murder and or permanently kidnap you. There is no legitimate purpose for a government to criminally surveil you, to threaten you and stalk you, harass you, terrorize you, kidnap, criminally defame, etc., as this same entity has engaged in. And there's no other purpose to engage in that, which is clearly unconstitutional, clearly unlawful, clearly unsubstantiated, unsupported, clearly inappropriate, improper, all of the above. Okay, there's no legitimate basis for the entity to engage in what is that exact pattern of conduct. There's no confusion. There is no other reasonable explanation for what I have documented. It is indeed stalking. It's specific method of stalking, which is satanic. This is a government that is engaging in what is trying to sacrifice an American citizen. This is the practice of witchcraft. It is showing what is demon possession, and it's shared by the population, who are legally referred to as the people of the state, who will be criminally and civilly prosecuted as well. And it is a prosecution of the state of California while it practices demonic behavior, demonic activity. It's engaging in what is demonic, and it is showing what is evidence of demon possession. And I am also able to show you, while that pattern of conduct is underway, you are recognizing a condition by those who are group stalking, and it is shared by, for example, an entire department, not just the demon who was stalking in the helicopter at that point in time. That's how you have a pattern of conduct shared amongst police departments, as I am in different regions at different times, right? Different locations, same exact specific environment though. The pattern that the light source, which is not possibly the sun, also has the pattern of remaining directly where I am and following wherever it is that I go, even if I go somewhere, and remain there from the beginning to the end of the day. Notably, as of late, that is TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott in MONROVIA, California, which is a grand departure from what the entity would like to contend, but not reasonably, not logically, not seriously, that the natural environment was documented at Alvarado Gardens, and that's because the fake sun remained at Alvarado Gardens from the beginning of the day, meaning 6:45 in the morning, until after 7 p.m. in the evening, as I remained inside of one apartment, which is 1806 apartment number 6 in Los Angeles on Alvarado Street. And as I also was downstairs at the leasing office, downstairs, meaning I worked and lived at the same property, and the fake sun remained there all day long. And it is referred to as a fake sun because the actual natural environment does not include any such sun that is stationary in order that I can see it outside of my window at 6:45 in the morning. And I'm still looking at it outside of my window at what is 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, in the afternoon. It's still over me at that same apartment. That's non-movement of a light source, a fake sun, as I have termed it. And it's using such terms because it's showing the asininity that the demon possessed exhibit while they are openly and no longer secretly stalking and engaging in what is terrorism, which is the conspiracy to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen, doing so through the demonic methods, which are intended to psychologically torture and torment an American citizen for no legitimate purpose whatsoever, other than the fact that this is what California routinely practices with regard to sacrificing American citizens, doing so in concert with a corrupt government. This is public corruption that I'm exposing. And you have massive demon possession that I'm simultaneously exposing as well. And the demon possessed pose a public safety concern at that. And I'm going to go through this discussion and then I'm going to show you this video evidence. But it needs to be known, the public safety concern that is simultaneously being exposed while I'm showing what demon possession, massive demon possession, is causing, which is the ability to go from any location and the fake sun will be over me, and also the phenomenon of the engineered light conduct. And then you have the pattern of there's the stalker and the helicopters. The entity is also engaged in what is referred to as criminal summoning. This is a very specific demonic behavioral pattern in the demonic environment, which is serving for what is a covert, so-called secret society. It's a system of group stalking. Group stalking is committed by the demon possessed. It's monitoring. Only demonic spirits are monitoring people. Only those who are not of that same condition, demon possessed, do not serve Satan, do not belong to Satan, are not affiliated with Satan and his minions, are not a part of the kingdom of darkness, are being monitored by monitoring spirits. Monitoring spirits, they use vessels, meaning Satan is a spirit. He uses people. Such monitoring spirits fill the population who are the people of the state. And this is what you need to know about California. And if you're not living in California, I suggest you not move to California. Okay, they are flinging spirits like they are flinging engineered light. Okay, and this goes to the celebrity, to the politician. I am speaking to what is massive public corruption, which the government is not ignorantly engaging in. It is impossible to have up to and beyond more than 8 law enforcement agencies that are engaging in an identical pattern of conduct. You've got a chief of police, you've got fire chiefs, you've got mayors, you've got a governor over California, you've got people that are sitting in judgeships, they're sitting on the bench, they're in these courts, in the public defender's offices and district attorney's offices, and they're engaging in an identical pattern of conduct. And the reason why you're able to identify what is identical is because the phenomenon of the fake sun. It's impossible that the so-called natural environment where there's an exclusive light source in the sky, there's only one sun, but that one sun is always over me all hours of the day. And where you're looking at the pattern of conduct underway that's in that occurring in that unnatural environment, that is where you are able to recognize the demon possessed, who are engaging in a very specific code of conduct. And everything that they're engaging in is also not natural, contrary to what you will not notice when you're not paying very close attention. And it does not require paranoia whatsoever. When you're aware of the environment, you will see very clearly, as my video is, I don't have to dig into any walls or pull out any microscopes for you to see engineered light. You're just not paying attention to it. And it coexists with what are demons who surround the light source that stays over me wherever it is that I'm at, even if it's at an apartment complex for over a year and I move away from that apartment complex and all of a sudden it's not possibly over that apartment complex seen through any window or over the leasing office at any time of day while it's outside of the windows of the hallway of the 4th floor facing Huntington at the TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott Hotel at 8:24 in the morning. That's not possibly any sunrise of a natural environment consisting of a sun that would be outside of the living room window of Alvarado Gardens. Pay attention to the documentation. It's on the record, and it is being uploaded to the internet, to the YouTube channel for the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is stalking in helicopters as the demon possessed Dominic Choi, who will be prosecuted and removed for being a domestic terrorist, a domestic enemy, engaging what is a pus infected, demon infected agency department that's engaging in criminal conduct with the public to sacrifice an American citizen. This is how you have the demonic behavioral pattern underway while that entity uses helicopter for the method of amplified audible activity. This is all fully documented for a prolonged period of time in a very specific environment, which is speaking to the absence of any natural environment in Monrovia, California. Because if that's a natural environment, this is how exclusive it is. There's only one sun. And if you want to unintelligently and not seriously contend that that's the natural environment, as I showed the specific environment in Los Angeles, California, there is no natural environment that exists while I'm showing a light source and engineer light and what I documented today, the presence of helicopter use in that specific environment. This is the specific pattern of conduct, and it is entirely demonic while a government conspires with the people of the state who are all of the same condition. This is speaking to what you need to wrap your mind around because it's supported by the evidence and it's not based on what you want to believe or what your mind can fathom or what you are willing to accept. The fact that, first of all, Satan is real. Second of all, demon possession is real, and Satan is a spirit who is invisible to the naked eye, and he uses people. That is what demon possession is. This is the ability for absolute strangers, for an entire population everywhere that I go, no matter what time, no matter what location, to mimic, mirror, engage in identical behavioral patterns because it's the personality of Satan. It's the work of Satan who is using people, irrespective of their personal ID. Their personal name or race or language, all of that's not relevant when you're talking about demon possession. And so you're understanding what's the criminal conduct by the government that's engaging in group stalking, which is demonic activity. Therefore, it is not legally relevant what your name is, what your race is, what your socioeconomic status is, what your historic background is, whatever linguistic barriers. That's not relevant to your stalking with audible activity, to your criminal presence in an unnatural environment, which is how the government's engaging in surveillance. You have to have people around the target individual for a government to engage in what is a malicious system while wanting to maliciously appear as though it's free society, normal everyday life. Nobody's paying attention to the target individual, but then you're going to look your head up in the sky and pay attention to what's not possibly the sun. And under the fake sun is ongoing harassment in helicopters. What under the fake sun is this coexisting method of light activity that's not even characteristic or within what is naturally going to occur with regard to sunlight. Under the fake sun, the entity is engaging in what is they want to look like they're just driving around, walking around, singing, humming, playing baseball, driving, filling up their gas tank, reporting to work at the bank, reporting to work at the desk in the hotel. But they're doing so amongst what is amplified audible activity, which is an unnaturally loud volume of everything that's occurring. Meaning there's an earthquake created in the hotel while I'm on the fourth floor, and those that want to be looked at as normal while they're just in traffic, that's what they want to appear as. That's the design of the system. But you've got the fake sun, you've got the engineered light, and then there's the sensational activity while you're just driving your car, even with a loud motor. That does not create an earthquake. This is the unintelligent pattern of conduct, the absence of any logic by the demon possessed, who are creating a massive group. But you have a massive group of inept minions. That does not make an elite team. The demon possessed are nothing other than obsessed, violent sex offenders who are engaging in a psychotic pattern of conduct that is intended to psychologically torture and torment, harass and terrorize, and sexually violate perpetually in that demonic environment and amongst their group stalking behavior. All of the facts that surround the pattern of conduct are serving for the basis whereby you are not only going to be prosecuted as a terrorist in the state of California by the federal government, it will include civil and criminal prosecution, and it will also include what is federal prison and removal from all of the corrupt positions of leadership in government that fills the state of California, where this system is secretly underway. It's no longer a secret. This is blowing the whistle. And this is the impossibility that the sun would be over 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. This is the same library where I'm present early in the morning. I'm documenting this for on a daily basis, including July of 2022, where I'm on a daily basis, where I'm at Alvarado Gardens. This is filling the documentation where I'm showing the P.O.C. that the demon-possessed terrorist organization that want to be referred to as the Los Angeles Police Department, in the same way that the demon-possessed MONROVIA terrorist agency that want to be referred to as, again, a police department, and they're not. You are, based on what you do, going to be prosecuted based on the reality of what it is you seek to secretly engage in as an entity. And that's how you have what is a pattern as opposed to what is an ongoing coincidence in an unnatural environment. This is how you're connecting all the dots and recognizing a pattern, which is demonic at its core and it's criminal in every regard. While a government seeks to sacrifice someone, sacrificing people, this is of witchcraft, this is demonic. It is out of the pit of hell, and this is what the state of California is practicing. And I'm also letting you know relevant context. This is what celebrities are relying on. This is what politicians are relying on in order to garner fame, garner success. I'm not going into the depths of witchcraft because I do not dabble in witchcraft. I don't know the details of what Satan engages in, but I can recognize a demon, and I know the demonic behavioral patterns when I'm being targeted. The ability to spiritually discern Satan amongst the population that also is making up the government and engaging what is public corruption. This is the ability to prosecute Satan in the natural. That's what I'm doing. That's what the P.O.C. serves. Okay, so the entity is engaging in, this is the practice of witchcraft. This is how you have such a massive issue in California. Again, I mean it. This is a PSA. Do not move to California if you do not have to. Unfortunately, Satan is running this state. And it's an unfortunate reality. And this is speaking to the times that we are in. It is speaking to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ, because he is not permitting this sort of lawlessness, this sort of corruption, not only based on the hypocrisy of a government, but based on what Satan is doing to the children of God. He's not going to stand by and silently let it continue. And not only that, the demon-possessed, the corrupt government is going to be prosecuted, and it's going to be public information. The fact that you are demon possessed, you will be the definition of what demon possession looks like, the high level deception that Satan seeks to engage in. While you sought to sacrifice, that is murder people, and doing so through the means of witchcraft so that it cannot be naturally ascertained what has been done here. If the targeted individual engages in suicide, it is homicide. It's still murder. The entity does so through psychologically torturing, through group stalking, through robbing you of anything regarding your career, regarding your personal life. You're being group stalked when you go to church. Those aren't genuine Christians. The fake sun is over that building where they're calling on the name of the Lord Jesus or whoever it is that they claim to worship. There's only one true and living God, and he's the one who is revealing federal group stalking and monitoring. There is no God beside him. And there is no other name that is exposing demon possession in the state of California. It is the true and living God, the Lord Jesus Christ. And while they may be calling on the name of the Lord Jesus, they are serving Satan while that fake sun is over that so-called church building. And while the methods of audible and light activity are present. You're being group stalked at church. You're being group stalked at the grocery store. You're being group stalked on the freeway. You're being group stalked in your home. You're being group stalked when you go to the police department and make a report about your neighbor who's always harassing you. The police and your neighbor are group stalking you together. So this is relevant. This is the context regarding what I just documented. While an entity is hostile, let me be clear, the demon possessed, again, they are not intelligent. Exhibit A, they are not intelligent. This is occurring amongst engineer light. You know the light activity at nightfall. Those are demons that are pacing while they have multiple shadows. That's called amplified audible activity. And while the demon-possessed are engaging in what is an ongoing impermissible threat, this is the commission of an exceedingly violent sex offender. An entire population is keeping a young woman under surveillance. That's an exceedingly violent sex offense. And it's going on the criminal records of Alan San Victoris. It's going on the criminal record of, let me be clear, because we need to review the names of those who are going to be specifically prosecuted. So I want to make sure that you understand that. And it's not just you. I want to make sure that the people of the state and these state actors, these corrupt leaders, they're not ignorantly present in the specific environment. They're not ignorantly engaging in a pattern of conduct. They are not ignorantly engaging in what is conduct in conformity to a P.O.C. So this is a state actor, Chin Swin. First of all, if this is not a natural born citizen, Chin Swin's going to find himself from a fire chief to deported after he is prosecuted for state terrorism. Heavily documented, engaged in what is criminal summoning. The Arcadia Fire Department engaged in ongoing criminal summoning, as I documented on video, while a demon-possessed group stalker in an Arcadia Fire Department truck is crossing path on Huntington and Arcadia, driving an engineer light on the road. And as you saw in that video, the fake sun was directly over me in that parking lot in the morning. And I just captured the entity stalking in a helicopter, the amplified sound of helicopter activity. And at 6 in the evening, the fake sun is still seen while I'm inside of the same hotel. I was at the hotel parking lot in the morning. I'm inside of the hotel facing the same intersection, Arcadia and Huntington. That's the pattern of conduct that the Arcadia, an entire demon-possessed agency participating in the state's public corruption, group stalking by government actors. And let me be clear, there is no anonymity. This is a leader that is engaging in what is public corruption and currently holding the seat for somebody that will replace him. It will be public information, which is going to be composed of much of my documentation, letting you know about the secrets of the Arcadia Police Department, which is nothing other than a template for what every other police department is documented engaging in. Let's recall the documentation of the Upland Police Department, exhibiting demon possession while they drive by me. A fake sun is over my head in the morning, around between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning in Upland, California. And while those demons engage in what is crossing path as opposed to just driving in traffic in the parking lot by me, engineer light spreads all across that black asphalt, an impossible occurrence, much like what the entity engaged in on video, which I will remind you about, a demon identified through the unnatural environment while the entity is engaging in what is, one second. Let me show you this video so I don't want to get myself on camera. I want to show you what is the phenomenon. First of all, this is the fake sun at the same, where Arcadia Police is our group stalking at the specific environment. And in the morning, this is the same intersection, Arcadia and Huntington. This video was captured at 6:40 p.m. Falk, this is a demon that's driving an emergency vehicle. These are the demons who are group stalking, engaging in what is referred to as criminal summoning. They engage in heavy-duty criminal summoning, including Chin Swin, the fire chief of the Arcadia Fire Department, who's going to be he's going to be removed, and he will be prosecuted for what is domestic terrorism. Not different from what Alan San Victoris of the Monrovia Police Department is engaging in. Okay, not different from what Dominic Choi of the Los Angeles Police Department was heavily documented engaging in. Their leadership over these corrupt departments is not a coincidence. It's also not a coincidence in the specific environment. It's also not a coincidence amongst the people of the state who have exhibited a pattern as a population. This is the providence of evidence showing corrupt leaders who will be systematically removed from the positions that they are stealing from those who will righteously stand in those positions and not tolerate, first of all, the presence of Satan, and will not facilitate criminal activity in such departments where they have very important jobs to do. And it does not include surveillance in service to Satan, where you are engaging in psychotic methods of demonic activity that no one in the natural is supposed to suspect, while you sound sirens under a fake sun amongst engineered light, targeting an American citizen whom you know is documenting inside of a private space while you're being a sex offender, in other words, and engaging in terrorism with the public. And all you do is throw a body in the back of an ambulance, or start a fire in some smoke and call yourself a hero for the day. It's public corruption, and it does not cease to engage in public corruption under a fake sun. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal summoning. So these, and I captured Arcadia Fire Department on video, doing so with real-time knowledge of any and everything that I state as I state it. It's amplified in volume inside of the 4th floor hotel. The entity is doing so. Remember, don't be mistaken. Amplification is not based on how realistic the distance is. I've already shown you what amplification is, and amplification never ceases to be a part of the pattern of conduct. Amplification is demonic. The entity is amplifying a demon that's outside of my hotel door. Walking by, the entity is the demon-possessed entity is amplifying a helicopter that's on the opposite side of a mountainside that I can't even see. You've seen it on video, the demons of the LAPD at a great distance away from my office and or apartment, and yet I'm hearing it. It's disrupting quiet enjoyment inside of my apartment, creating sensational activity when you're not even flying over around the apartment building. Amplification is a staple with regard to the P.O.C. It is not measured. It is not based on. It is not proven by the closeness or what Satan wants to rely on, the realistic ability to hear it. That's what Satan relies on. I've already established what amplification is, and it is always underway. It's a demonic feature of the P.O.C. And by the way, where you have the supernatural occurring, such as a light source, which is supposed to be the sun when you are ignorantly observing it, and it's over one person at one address for an excess of 12 hours, you are opening yourself up to what is reasonably also within the fact pattern, the fact that other supernatural things are occurring, such as a vibration of the window when you're just driving by on the street. I don't care how loud your vehicle is, that's a demon. And that's how demons are targeting. And it's the same thing when the demons of the LAPD provided so many video evidence of them engaging in demonic pacing, flying in circles. That's a demon that's pacing. It's so unfortunate, but this is necessary for the public to know why Dominic Choi is going to be prosecuted, why he's going to be removed, what he and all the rest of these leaders who I'm going to identify by name and picture, all of the information that they put out to the public wanting to show one side of their position and status and reputation, and hiding the reality of what they are not ignorantly participating in, nor is it reasonably to contend that that pattern of conduct is underway by your department and you have no idea about it, or that you are any exception and you're not demon possessed like every other minion. First of all, that's not the case. Second of all, that's not realistic or reasonable. And third of all, I'm letting you know with regard to the spirit, Chen Xuan is demon possessed. He is in need of deliverance, and his demon possession is the reason why he would sit at this position of leadership and engage and facilitate and enable. And if he wants to deny the fact that you are aware of the fact that fire trucks are being used to engage in criminal surveillance, because there's no denying the P.O.C. All the demon possessed leaders can engage in is claiming ignorance. And it's not even reasonable to do that. Under all circumstances, you will be removed because you're admitting to what is dereliction of duty. Okay, this massive criminal conduct on your watch, you are looking at the exposure and inevitable permanent removal. Inevitable. Okay, so the entity is doing so, and this is the criminal summoning. These are the departments who are going to be facing permanent removal. And so the entity is engaging in this POC, and I want you to see, I'm glad that's still together. I want you to see the images of the those leaders of the Monrovia Fire Department. Those are the demons that are stalking in the path under a fake sun amongst engineer light. The entity is group stalking. I want to be clear. Jeremy Sanchez, this is a fire chief for the Monrovia Fire Department, and this is the face of one who is demon possessed. All right. This is no ordinary criminal activity. Remember, not only is this terrorism in the state of California that is done in concert with the population, the constituents of the state, it's demonic. So you are not engaging in the pattern of conduct outside of being demon possessed. This is the ability to simultaneously expose what is shameful and expose what is criminal. Okay, and so it does become legally relevant, the fact that demon possession causes and inspires such public corruption, such dereliction of duty, if you want to claim ignorance. Okay, so the entity is facing inevitable removal, and they do so with real-time knowledge of what's being documented about them, including the fact that I am in real time. Let me show you also the face again of Alan San Victoris, who's going to be removed. Yeah, this is the chief of police, Alan San Victoris, again, another demon-possessed, corrupt leader, where federal group stalking and monitoring is not ignorantly underway, while a pattern of conduct by a government it's impossible to mimic a pattern. It's impossible to do it in a specific environment. It's impossible to be anything but demon-possessed and group stalking, utilizing helicopters, California's specific style of terrorism, under what is a light source, again, that I'm capturing in the specific environment, which is the light source that's in alignment to my hotel room and also in alignment to my bedroom inside of the apartment of 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 at the same time. This is what I was documenting this morning. This was captured yesterday while the entity is keeping a fake sun and the demons are pacing on Monrovia and Huntington. It's called criminal presence. And this maintenance of a light source in perfect alignment with me. At the top, this is Alvarado Gardens. This is where the fake sun remained. It was rising in alignment to my apartment at as early as 6:45 in the morning. It's 6:41 as I'm capturing this picture. The blinds are closed, okay? And yet I'm still able to capture piercing light. And this is just while the blinds are closed. I would on a daily basis, as you become aware of my documentation, capturing the light source just like you see here, while the light source is seen outside of a hotel window that's facing Monrovia, that is not in alignment, seen through the windshields of the vehicles parked at Alvarado Gardens, while an entity is keeping engineer light. This is what you can see. This is the fake sun outside of my bedroom window at Alvarado Gardens. This is the ability to see through the windshield of the vehicles parked at Alvarado Gardens. This is at the same time outside of the hotel window of Monrovia. hotel, TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott, at the same time. This is where an entity is group stalking in helicopter. This is what I documented today. This is pointing directly to what is corrupt leadership, as I've pointed it out to you. Those who will be removed from the positions that they currently hold, they are hijacking noble positions from those who do not serve Satan. And that does become legally relevant with the government's engaging in criminal surveillance that is demonically inspired while they seek to sacrifice American citizens. In doing so, let me be clear, to engage in satanic methods of sacrifice, doing so while you are demon possessed, and then the entity remains in order to compose the narrative. So the demon possessed agency, were anything to happen to me inside of the hotel or leaving the hotel. And guess who controls the narrative after the fact? The people of the state. The demons reporting the news to you. And they're reporting the news to you under a fake sun, amongst engineer light, amongst the demon possessed people of the state who are claiming to be witnesses, claiming to be, oh, I saw this, and oh, the target individual said that, and then they were attacked, and then the target individual, and then I saw them defend themselves, but I don't know who it was. They got away and I didn't see their license plate, and oh my goodness, we're perplexed. We don't even know if it was on surveillance cameras. The surveillance cameras of the facilitating venues are all engaged in the P.O.C. The demons who are supposedly investigating and conducting an autopsy, they're all engaged in the P.O.C. Even the demon-possessed ambulance workers are engaged in the P.O.C. while they remain to control the narrative while they sacrifice American citizens. And let me show you a demon operating an ambulance. Exhibit A.
Are going to federal prison in the state of California. So I want to be clear, and let me be clear, thousands are walking away with a criminal record as domestic terrorists, and which is an exceedingly violent sex offender, and that includes the chief of police of the Arcadia Fire Department, the chief of police of the Monrovia Fire Department, the chief of the fire chiefs of those aforesaid fire departments, and the chief of police of the Monrovia Police Department. They're looking forward to a federal prosecution. That's Falk crossing paths with engineer.
I need you to pay attention to that one more time. We're going to rewind that because that's engineer light. First of all, that's the mark of demon possession. First of all, let's break this down. That's not the sun. And let me remind you about what's present in the venue on the grounds of the same property in the morning. This is essentially the exact same location. It's just on this side where the palm trees are. The fake sun is on this side as I'm capturing it after 6 p.m. today. This is the fake sun that moves as I move. So as I went to Target, so did the fake sun. It's over the top of Target, over the top of my head, where demons are pacing all around, both working at Target and as patrons shopping in Target, and they're all doing it on surveillance cameras. That's how the Target individual is able to prosecute the entity that is bullying it, group stalking it through its satanic methods of maintenance of presence and activity creation. All right. And as I park my vehicle at 10 o'clock in the morning, there is no iteration of the natural environment that consists of the same
Many are going to federal.
The same maintenance of a light source that's not possibly the sun, as I'm showing at 6:40 p.m. This video was prompted by the entity stalking in a helicopter, and I'm going to get to that. But first, I want you to see. First of all, this is a position where the fake sun is at it as early as 10 o'clock in the morning. But I have even earlier than that. The fake sun is seen through the window of the same hotel at 8 o'clock in the morning. Do I need to show that? I don't, but I'll go ahead just to be thorough because everything that I say is supported by evidence. I don't have to make up anything. This is nothing other than surveillance while demons stay in a hotel. This is 8:43 in the morning. This is the light source. This is the same intersection. What is Myrtle and Huntington. And this is the entity that is maintaining a light source, and this is supposedly sunlight creating the shape of the window on the inside. And you've also seen the engineer light that bounces off the windows on the outside of the building, and that's supposed to be, again, ignored while the demons are openly engaging in acts of terrorism, which let me be clear. Would you ever provide evidence to the prosecutor to your own demise? Because that's what the demon possessed are doing on a daily basis. All right. And you have what will be permanent removal from leadership positions where the entity is engaged in public corruption. And it is the conspiracy to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen. And group stalking is a perpetual sex offense. It's an exceedingly violent sex offense. And that's exactly how it's going to be prosecuted. This is capturing the phenomenon that the sun would be outside of the window of the same hotel where you're looking at it, outside of the window of the same hotel at
Many are going to federal.
6:40 in the evening. This is the same hotel. It's even the same intersection on the same floor, 4th floor. This is facing Myrtle. That was at 8:43 in the morning. That's the 4th floor facing Huntington. All right. This is capturing, first of all, that's the first layer where you're recognizing these are all demons. This is called pacing. That's what I told you the demon possessed are doing under a fake sun. You also know that they're demons even on my podcast, which you heard even on this video. That's called audible activity. While demons know exactly where I'm at. You know how I know and how you know that they know where I'm at? Because a fake sun remains over me everywhere that I go. And I also noticed that. That's why I documented it at Alvarado Gardens. That's why I documented it at every other venue where I'm present. Where, for example, at Starbucks, a light source in the morning into the evening, a little Starbucks at San Antonio and Hope Boulevard in Ontario, it's just sitting on the record, waiting for San Victoris to be prosecuted under that evidence. All right? It's just sitting on the record, waiting for Chen Shuen to be prosecuted and removed from his position, while that which is not the sun is over Starbucks at 760 West Hope Boulevard in Ontario, California. That's not the sun, that's the light source. That's where the demon possessed are maintaining criminal presence in a malicious manner. Targeting an American citizen, doing so with amplified audible activity, doing so with real-time knowledge of every move you make, sexually violating you while they know that your legs are open and your genitalia is exposed. Seeking to, at that moment, with the specific intent to terrorize and sexually offend and violate you, with a predatory mind state, hence the prosecution of a violent sex offender, that is Alan San Victoris and Chen Shuen, to name some of many, the demon-possessed method of sexually violating you. Amplification is demonic. All right, and so it is able to be recognized under a fake sun. This is demonic. And so is this engineer light that's being dragged across the what would be the passenger side of this ambulance when you're looking at what is, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't know why this is. Well, you're looking at, let me go back to the beginning of this video, hold on. When you are looking at this is shade. The vehicles that you see the shade, the casting. This is engineer light. You can tell by the way that the shadows are cast from the vehicles. This is engineer light that they're driving in. But nonetheless, when they're driving toward the fake sun, that's also showing you the immediacy. There's no sun outside of the bedroom window of Alvarado Gardens. There's no sun over the Ovid Family Community Library. However, I do have evidence showing a specific environment where you can see a light source in perfect alignment with me at the Ovid Family Community Library. But you and I both know, and it is not a matter of rocket science, nor is it reconcilable, that which you can reconcile under the so-called natural environment, that a sun is over the Ovid Family Community Library at the same time when I'm looking at it outside of the hotel window at Myrtle and Huntington, the same hotel window, or at 824 down the same floor facing a different angle. At 8:24 in the morning, the so-called sun, there's only one. There's not one sun per street, per county, per direction, per neighborhood, or per block. That's not the sun, and that's not the natural environment. The entity is tethered to the demonic environment that it's stalking me in. It's notably stalking in helicopters. And I also want you to, when I'm speaking to controlling the narrative, demons picking my dead body up in an ambulance, those are the demons that are group stalking as well. And Falk is demonstrating this. This is how you're able to identify a demon, not only because it's present under a fake sun, and as you can see the engineer light dragging behind this ambulance, which I'm going to show you in slow motion. I'm going to show you that engineer light again, and we're going to rewind it. You're going to look at it again, and then I'm going to rewind it, and you're going to look at it again, because there is no mistaking the ability to identify demon possession. You know what that's relevant to with regard to federal group stalking and monitoring? Malice. The government is stalking and doing so through demonic methods with a criminal purpose to psychologically torment while sexually violating, and also engaging in the conspiracy to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen. This is how you have the phenomenon, an impossible occurrence in other words, and a pattern that's shared amongst the people of the state that aren't driving in ambulances. The third party conduct, the same exact demon possession exhibited through the engineered light, which you can also see when I'm inside of the hotel on the 4th floor and you see the light show that's on the ceilings and on all over the walls. That's the same conduct as the demons that drive right by me, and engineer light moves all over the sidewalk and all over the walls around me. Like you saw at the DMV in Glendale, like you saw at the Social Security office in Los Angeles. That's the same conduct. It's just that I'm not standing right by the vehicles, the demons who are group stalking. I'm on the 4th floor, which the demons know that. That's why you see the phenomenon of engineer light moving all across the walls and the ceiling. While you see what ties it all together, oh, that which is not possibly the sun. It's over me, and it has nothing to do with engineered light because sunlight doesn't do that. But you see the same presence, the demonic pacing by the people of the state. But yet when Arcadia Police drives by in the morning at the same address, there's no light beaming off of their car, off of that truck, off of anyone's car into the 4th floor of the hotel window. that would explain, that would be direct evidence of a phenomenon, but that's not what's happening. I'm showing you the supernatural, the evidence of what you cannot see with your naked eye, and it is legally relevant, and I will prosecute for what an entity sought to maliciously do, which is sacrifice me, while they practice witchcraft, this demon possession exhibited through their conduct and through the environment where they're engaging in stalking, group stalking. So I want you to recall, this is a demon driving an ambulance, and this is the same condition of the state actors who are stalking in fire trucks, stalking in helicopters, except the helicopters don't sound sirens. But that's the same police department, Monrovia Police, stalking in helicopters. They're also stalking in a police vehicle, sounding sirens, stalking with light activity as opposed to rushing off to a legitimate emergency that's not under a fake sun, that's not amongst directed light, engineered light, that's not amongst a demon-possessed population. That's a legitimate emergency. That's the proper, lawful, and appropriate use of fire trucks and ambulances and police vehicles. That's not what these demons are doing. It's the malicious appearance of normal society when Satan is using an entire government to target an American citizen for the criminal purpose to sexually violate, and to conspire to murder and or kidnap permanently. Okay, so I want you to look again at the demon that's driving the ambulance. This is not different. Upon review, the feds, anybody, you can zoom in yourself and you can look at the light activity. The demons are driving by and you'll see the engineer light moving all across the curbs. You'll see it. But I wanted to hone in on a state actor, Falk, that's driving by in an ambulance. They are the same conditions. They're the same conditions. I'm prosecuting the government that is acting in concert with the population. All right, but I want to hone in on a demon driving an ambulance. Those are the ones that are controlling the narrative, where the ordinary target individual's life has been taken, and these are the demons that control the narrative regarding what happened to the target individual, regarding what was wrong with the targeted individual, if applicable under the circumstances, regarding who did what to the targeted individual, and they're all demons controlling the narrative after the entity has sacrificed an American citizen. It's called murder by the government. And in California in particular, celebrities, politicians, and even people collecting welfare are engaging in this system of trying to sacrifice people. And I would surmise, I don't dabble in Satan's business. I will never touch any witchcraft. I will speak against it. As you see me standing on the mountaintop, I will speak to the truth of what Satan is doing every day. But I will say, it is not successful if you are collecting welfare and you're trying to sacrifice someone. I would hypothesize it's not working out for you. It's not working. Not that there is any satisfactory or successful price that Satan could pay me in order to murder people, to target them, to torment them. There is nothing that Satan could give me to sell my soul and burn in hell. There's nothing that I could ever be offered, and I would never target another person. Not only is the entity targeting, but the entity is doing it through such satanic methods, such that the ordinary target individual is silently suffering, because who are they going to report it to? The pattern of conduct is designed to result in criminal defamation. Who's going to help them? Any and every person that you know, whether you know them by name, whether they're blood related, whether you go to school, whether you go to church with them, and you will understand that they're false believers. They're not true believers. They're false teachers. They're all of them are false. Group stalking, state surveillance is underway by those who serve Satan. You are not a Christian. You're not a believer. You're not a born again Christian. So you will learn that about those who are at your so-called church. And that's just assuming that you are a Christian. But the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and you suffer in silence, and you suffer while Satan torments you. And that is if it doesn't result in you taking your own life, which is the goal behind federal group stalking and monitoring. If not, criminally defaming you, locking you up, kidnapping you in a facility where you try to report it, for example, in order to be falsely depicted as insane. For example, paranoid schizophrenia. When they are targeting you, the level of malice is unfathomable. And then the hypocrisy by so-called medical workers. They're facilitating kidnapping and federal group stalking and monitoring a statewide system. They're abusing the Wealth and Institutions Code. While demons are driving ambulances, these are the same demons that are abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code to engage in kidnapping while group stalking. And then criminally defaming. This is a demon driving an ambulance. Let's recall again.
Walking away with a criminal record as domestic terrorists, and which is an exceedingly violent sex offender, and that includes the chief of police of the Arcadia Fire Department, the chief of police.
Let's get to the light activity. Here you go. This is a demon just like all the rest of them, but I just want you to see a state actor that wants to appear to have some sort of authority, something noble, doing something good, saving someone's life. No, they're stalking, and they're stalking on video, and they're also letting you know that they're demon possessed not only because of a fake sun, not only because they're creating light activity by driving presence under the fake sun. There's no ignorant presence. There's no non-demon, in other words, under the fake sun. The only non-demon is me. That's it. This is an entity that is targeting me, and it is satanic. So the entity, like I said, TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott is filled with defendants. So the entity is driving by, and I want you to see not different. This is called demonic pacing, by the way. These demons, you're talking about what is Satan is doing. The population is maintaining presence. Traffic is not ordinary conduct. The engineer light is the evidence of that. The fake sun is the evidence of that. Even the stalking conduct in the helicopter is evidence of that. Understand the establishing the P.O.C. by the state. You are establishing not only the specific environment. Upon establishing the specific environment, the state is stalking in that environment, and it includes stalking by helicopter. This is a hallmark, and the state is stalking as I'm capturing this video of an ambulance. This is identified as a state actor, and you see engineer light dragging behind
MONROVIA Police Force. They're looking forward to
again behind the ambulance vehicle. This is the fake sun here, driving toward the light source. Where does sunlight occur in this manner? You're looking at on my bedroom wall, supposedly sunlight. And then you're looking at what is the identification of a demon and a malicious actor. So let's look at that again. You can see the engineer light. You can see it here. It's lighting up the curb, and it's moving as the demon moves. It's at a distance away from the vehicle, has nothing to do with sunlight. Okay, the light source is at a vantage point where it would be hitting more so the driver's side of the vehicle, the top of the vehicle. There's nothing that's going to create any sort of ricocheting of light that's going to bounce off of the vehicle, the truck, and move along the curb as the vehicle moves. That's the identification of a demon. That's identification of a malicious state actor. Those are the demons engaging in criminal summoning, as I stated before. Chen Xuan is going to be removed because this is state conduct. It's not limited to what only the Arcadia Fire Department is engaging or only Falk, the ambulatory services provider. This is not what that is. That's why you have the unnatural environment. It's for massive surveillance of a demonic nature. And I want to be clear. Let's look at this light activity again. I want you to see that. I do some zooming when I'm capturing it, so I'm going to try to just let you see it, rewind it a few times. There's a light activity behind you can see it in the shade. That's monitoring conduct. And while you see the traffic going in opposite directions, these are demons who are pacing. This is the mental illness that the demon possessed do not want you to know about. Okay, so the psychopath conduct in the engineered environment. Remember, the objective of the demon is to pace back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Demons that want to hide their mental illness, their psychotic obsession, the fact that they're focused on you, the fact that they're stalking you, in order to do it amongst an entity that is demon possessed as a group, they pace around you. And it appears to the untrained eye as traffic. This is pacing. This is pacing, all under a fake sun, however. And then you have what is not even sunlight under what is not the sun. And this is shown through one operating an ambulance vehicle and, an engineer light. Let me get back to it. An engineer light dragged across the curb in sync with the movement of that vehicle. It's even at a distance away from the vehicle. Like I said, it's just plain demonic. It's asinine. It's illogical. It's clearly unnatural. It is the evidence for you to be able to know the truth of what it is that I am testifying to. This is a demon-possessed entity engaging in what is years of targeting me, sought to do so secretly, thinking that they were going to silence and oppress me, lock me up in a facility, falsely depict me, and kidnap me there permanently. That's the purpose of engaging in keeping me under surveillance. The entity utilized my family, or so I thought they were, my blood relatives rather, because your actual family will not participate in this. They will, even in the face of death, even in the face of opposition, defend you and protect you. They will not participate in it. My family is fully acting in conformity to the pattern of conduct. They are on the record documented group stalkers, threatening my life, posing the highest threat, by the way, outside of what the state poses, stalking you in helicopters and as corrupt law enforcement agencies, because the government relies on your blood relatives, those that you call friends, those who you are romantically involved with, those who you know on a personal basis. You meet at Starbucks for your Bible study. You go to ballet class together. You go to the opera every Saturday evening. You're dating. You're married even to group stalkers. Those are the ones that are ripe for federal prison, by the way, because of that intolerable level of facilitation. And this has to be the case because I will not treat any person whose name that I know different from how the way in which I would defend zealously any client of mine. They would be going to federal prison. And so the rules cannot change because it happens to be my blood relatives who I still, at the same time, I love them, but they are serving Satan and sought to sacrifice me. Okay? The rules do not change. So this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and these are the consequences. This is the entity that's engaging in a pattern of conduct, and again, you are able to identify demon possession through the unnatural environment. That engineer light is dragging across the curb while that state actor is driving an ambulance. So let's look at that again. This is an impossible occurrence that first of all, the son would be at the same hotel, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then second of all, that engineer light in this manner, it's covering all of the curb. You could see it very vividly as it goes across the red curb, the red painted aspect of the curb. This is P.O.C. Yeah, that's P.O.C. That's called monitoring. The purpose of this, and this is what the entity is doing. Millions of people are keeping me under surveillance because that's what the whole population is doing. One vehicle after another. Engineer light moving across each other's cars, moving across the sidewalk, all across the street, all across the building, all across the columns of the bus seat station right here. They're doing is monitoring. And it is not different from what the entity is doing as I'm documenting inside of the hotel at 8 in the morning, where the entity is keeping the fake sun. Remember this light show. Oops. This is captured on there's engineer light that's up here at the top. But I have even, yeah, you can see the engineer light moving across it's so demonic. It's entirely unnatural. It's moving across the wall here. It's moving across the ceiling above. Pay attention to all the flashing of light. While the demon possessed engage in surveillance coincides with their crossing and path conduct. That's the same conduct that a demon driving an ambulance is engaging in while engineer light moves across the curb. It's an impossible occurrence. It's occurring under what's an impossible occurrence, that the sun, an exclusive object that's in constant movement, contrary to what I'm documenting, stationary presence. That's a direct opposite of constant movement. And it's also not simultaneously seen here stationary and also at Alvarado Gardens, stationary. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. In addition to that, I want you to see the vivid light show that Satan provided me because the foolishness, it has to be punished. So while they provide the evidence, I'm just going to provide what the entity provides to me. And this is foolishness that I captured on video. Not my foolishness, the foolishness of the entity. Not only is this the entity where my shadow is upright inside of the lobby of this facilitating venue, an impossible occurrence, the sun is not aiming underneath inside of the depths of a lobby. All of this is covered. Group stalking in plain sight. Impossible occurrence. This is all covered. Okay. There is no sunlight that's going to reach underneath the covering. This is what you're not paying attention to. It's openly demonic. Open admission to criminal presence. Many of whom are not even natural born citizens. They deserve to be deported after they sit in federal prison. This is criminal surveillance that's going on at a hotel. Group stalking me. All right, molesting with engineer light, as you see that. And then there's the light source above the covered structure, but engineer light underneath the depths of a covered structure, and my shadow appearing upright inside of the building, and yet the fake sun is above the structure. This is at 9:14 in the morning. The fake sun, where the entity is stalking in a helicopter and engaging in criminal summoning, that's audible activity, light activity, and relevant positioning as opposed to a legitimate emergency. What supersedes not the narrative that the corrupt government wants to maintain control over. What supersedes, what controls, contrary to what this corrupt government is accustomed to, is the specific environment, the evidence of their criminal activity, the evidence of public corruption. So the evidence of malice by the government. So the entity is maintaining this light show. This is what I captured inside of the hotel. This is the light show. This is what the ambulance is engaging in. Crossing path and the engineer lights appearing on the, I know I got more light activity before 6 minutes. I went into the hallway. The entity immediately started its light show.
Evidence of both demon possession and criminal surveillance by the state of California, where demons are pacing. It's impossible to hear traffic. Impossible. These are the demons that are monitoring. There is no iteration of the natural environment. First of all, where the sun would.
I want you to pay attention to the street. Go back. This is engineer light in the street. The demons are driving in it. You see the squares? That's the shape of windows that's appearing on the ground in the shade for them to drive in. This is the purpose of monitoring. This is what demons are doing. All they're doing is pacing in the engineer light. This is how you monitor. This is how they also engage in surveillance on communication devices. This demonic behavior, I'm exposing a lot of stuff. What the demons do, this engineer light, this demonic behavioral pattern, it affects real-time performance of internet operation and your communication devices. This is the ongoing objective that they engage in, and they are doing it amongst this engineer light. It's not the sun, and it's not normal sunlight. And you're looking at the environment that they're all not driving in traffic, they're all pacing in. Upon recognizing a specific environment, now you're using a specific vocabulary because the demon possessed are engaging in a specific code of conduct. This is pacing. Under a fake sun and engineer light that's appearing on the outside of the building, as though sun is going to bounce off of windows and appear on the asphalt on the ground. And also while the
Impossible. These are the demons that are monitoring.
light show occurs on the inside of the hallway of this staircase. So.
Threat, it's not naturally occurring. The demon possessed engage in this conduct as I've shown at Alvarado Gardens for over a year.
I just want you to see that.
Going to be presented against the entity in court, civil and criminal court, and they're going to federal prison, and I'm going to drain the pockets. It's the same exact analysis, okay? This is.
So I need you to pay attention to this demonic, to this chicanery. You need to look at this. It's going to be literally used against government actors, and they provide it to their own demise. This is the expiration date of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is terrorizing on its face. The ordinary target individual is scared to death while you're also stalking them in helicopters, and you're also engaging in amplification through demons that are filling at this venue, hotel rooms, and terrorizing and harassing while they know what I'm doing on my communication device. And then you engage in this sort of impossible light activity that is scary to the normal, ordinary person. It is not because I have some ability to spiritually discern that I'm some hypersensitive person and it's not scary to the ordinary person. No, this light activity is weird on its face. When you pay attention to that which is supposedly the sun over you all day long, that's weird on its face. And then the entity is harassing you and kidnapping you and defaming you. That's terrorizing and scary to any person, especially when it's occurring for no legitimate reason. When you're not a criminal and there should be no relationship between law enforcement and yourself. Why are they doing that? Conspiring to murder and or permanently kidnap while sexually violating as an entity with the purpose to psychologically torment and torture. That's why you do that. And it occurs through the light activity where they're monitoring. What the demons do when the engineer light is significant. This is why you have a demon driving a Falk ambulance and engineer lights driving across the curb. This is another iteration of the same exact P.O.C. where the engineer lights in the hallway.
It's the direct evidence, and it's also an impermissible threat. It's not naturally occurring. The demon possessed engage in this conduct as I've shown at Alvarado Gardens for over a year. They engage in more as the more that Satan is documented. That's moving light on the wall. And this is what's going to be presented against the entity in court, civil and criminal court. And they're going to federal prison, and I'm going to drain the pockets. It's the same exact analysis, okay? This is coexisting with demonic pacing.
That's what the demons are doing. And while you hear amplified audible activity, the sex offenders, the terrorists who are going to be prosecuted, many of whom are going to federal prison, none of whom are maintaining anonymity, while they are at this point now hurting each other as opposed to coming up together, they're all hurting each other while they engage in amplification, which is demonic, and it's amongst engineer light, and it's also occurring while the demon possessed are monitoring what's going on my phone. As you heard in the background, the ongoing amplification of a loud engine. Everything that's heard and seen in the specific environment is serving the criminal system to monitor me, and it's a sex offense inside of a private space, and it's going under the name of every employee, including Hunter, who's going to federal prison. He works at TOWNEPLACE Suites by Marriott. The entity is doing so on an ongoing basis. And so I'm going to conclude this video with what I documented at the same time, 6:41 p.m. I believe, and the entity is group stalking while I am maintaining documentation in Ontario, California. Again, at the top, 6:41 p.m. What's notable about this documentation is because I'm at the same library as early as 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. The documentation of the P.O.C. extends years. showing a consistent pattern of conduct, what is something that is clearly outside of my control. All I did was let the camera roll so that the world can witness what the government seeks to engage in secretly, covertly, in concert with the population, many of whom have positions of power, positions of influence. They're celebrities. And this is the type of behavior, the satanic practices that many of those that are popular, that have wealth, they're demonic resources that they go to in order to attain this, sacrificing people. I am one who is not, you cannot sacrifice me. And by the way, I just want to give a PSA again for the Lord Jesus Christ. Unless you are sealed by the Holy Spirit, you do not have a defense against what the Bible refers to as the strong man. You don't have a defense protection against that. If you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, you need to get a relationship with him, a personal relationship with him. The times that we are in, this is speaking to, remember, this is not just prosecution for a crime. This is what Satan is doing. And he is out here murdering people, sacrificing people. If you're playing with your relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, you need to stop. This is not the time to play. It's not the time to be frivolous with your relationship with the Lord. We should be, as the church, walking with Christ, walking in the power of the Holy Spirit. That is our only protection, divine protection from what Satan is doing. And let me be clear, the demon possessed, the wicked, who want you to focus on the carnal, they're fully aware and educated about the spiritual, while they want you to be ignorant about what's going on and focus on the carnal. They don't want you to know about what's going on in the environment. They don't want you to know the significance about what they're doing as they move, where they move, about what they're focusing on you. They don't want you to know about any of that. And it's all spiritually significant, and it's right in front of your face. You do not have any protection outside of the Lord Jesus Christ. All right. And so that is my PSA for that. That is how I am able to stand alive, victorious against what an entire population sought to do. I'm supposed to be dead. I'm supposed to be silenced. I'm supposed to be a crazy person doped up somewhere, giving up. If not them being able to convince me that I'm crazy, my own giving up, me giving up of my own will and just letting them keep me there in a facility. They've kidnapped me many times. And if I would have just gave up and just let them continue to inject my body with drugs, just let them continue to make up information about me having a relationship with so-called medical workers and psychiatrists, relationships that did not exist. They kidnapped from the beginning. They made up all the information. They created documents. They manufactured the entire issue while they were group stalking in the facilities. The demons that are psychiatrists, they're demon possessed. They're group stalking. This is a statewide system. It is designed to destroy you. So that's what I'm going to say. This is not just about a crime. Yes, it is. The Lord is vindicating me. The Lord is declaring that I shall not be touched, and I'm thankful for it. And I give all glory to the Lord. He is a true and living God, and he is coming back in judgment. And this is just a sample of his power. And if you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ in a personal relationship, then this is evidence. This is a testimony speaking to you do not have any other protection. There is no other God. None can stand before him. None stands beside him. There is no one above him. Satan himself is not the equal opposite. Satan is a counterfeit. He's a created being. He wants to be, but he will never be. And nor can he triumph over the children of God, those who belong to the King. Victory is ours. It's impossible. It's a promise. Okay, so this is speaking to the documentation, and it's going to result in what is natural consequences for the demon-possessed who seek to sacrifice while they serve Satan, and their condition and their criminal activity is simultaneously exposed. So at the top, the Ovid Family Community Library, the entity is maintaining a light source as I've documented, and I'm not going to go through it in this video because it's already at an hour and 2 minutes, but the documentation is filled with my presence at the Ovid Family Community Library since 2018 to 2022. I frequented this library like literally for years, almost on a daily basis. I'm there from opening until closing. I'm there before opening at 7 in the morning. The fake sun was over the top of my head. It was right there rising. Okay. If not rising over me where I would wake up, remaining over me as I would travel to this library in the morning. So this is indeed the specific environment. In the specific environment, the Ontario Police Department are engaging in exactly what I documented here in Monrovia. The Monrovia Police Department are engaging in a documented act of terrorism, and it's the audible activity of helicopter activity. It's occurring in the specific environment. There is so much that the federal government is already apprised of as I document this video. It is indeed the POC. I'm showing the specific environment that is shared in Ontario, even down to the same time. In May of 2022, this is same time of year analysis, which is also relevant. I've done it all the way down to what is the same day, same time analysis. Okay, but I didn't capture video on what is the July 28, 2024, specifically at 6:41 p.m. But my Rolodex of documentation, literally everything that the entity has done, I've already documented it before. Okay, same time of year analysis, even down to same day and same time analysis, much of which I showed as I exemplified, made an example, in other words, of the demon-possessed terrorist organization, the Los Angeles Police Department. So you can look back and recall what was the Fontana Police Department doing at the same time, even down on the same day. We can look back and recall what was the Montclair Police Department doing, even down to the same time, the same day. We can look back and recall what was the Chino Police Department doing, even down to the same time and the same day, where that which is not possibly the sun remained over me while the demon-possessed terrorist organization was group stalking. That's how you identify it, in a helicopter. That's the hallmark, in the specific environment, which is not shared with what under the circumstances were a helicopter, again, over me in the specific environment in an entirely different region, but yet you've got the same exact pattern going on. It's a statewide system. This is what MONROVIA is foolishly providing to me on video. MONROVIA is providing evidence against all of the people of the state, against the entire state of California. Okay? That's no random act. It's no anomaly while a demon is driving a Falk ambulance. So this is the POC at the Ovid Family Community Library. This is located at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. Stalking in a helicopter. And this is audible activity and relevant positioning. Understand the elements of monitoring, not just the engagement in stalking in helicopter. Remember, the entity is engaging in elements. Elements are what control, not the demon's recitation of what they were doing, where they were going in the helicopter, what house they went to go douse in water because it was on fire, not the body that they had to go take out of the burning house, who they had to go. No. That's the corrupt entity that thinks it will provide facts that supersede the evidence of the POC. And contrary to their deluded beliefs, it will not. It shall not, under federal law. The specific environment controls. It creates, by the way, an irrebuttable presumption of public corruption. And the people of the state, they have no shelter. No corrupt government can help you in federal court. So this is the light source. This is the stalking in helicopter. This is the engagement in elements. That's what you're going to pay attention to, as I documented at 6:40 p.m. And what I'm documenting on this day. So let's just briefly revisit what the entity did today at 6:40 p.m. inside of my hotel room. That's helicopter activity. That is the terrorist organization, the MONROVIA Police Department. The demon-possessed and terrorist leader, Alan San-Victoris, he's going to be prosecuted as a domestic terrorist. This is not distinct from the criminal conduct, the criminal system in the specific environment. All right, and I go through that analysis. Not only are you looking at, you can compare two crime scenes right here, okay? First of all, this is engineer light, concentrated engineer light on the wall, okay? Let me be clear. This is just a concentrated method of engineer light. All of this is engineer light that frames the wall. This is all engineer light. This is all engineer light. Engineer light occurs in different levels of concentration, first of all. Second of all, the concentrated light, which is you are supposed to ignorantly refer to as sunlight, this is impossible to be the case where the entity is at the same time in Ontario, California during the same time of year analysis, which again, let me be clear, even under daylight savings time, you're only giving and taking in an hour. There is no explanation for what is the maintenance of a fake sun in entirely different regions where that light source is not only present over me at the same time, but also at said venues for the duration of the day. That's what's so spectacular and why I documented it to prosecute the state. All right, so this is what the entity is doing in a helicopter. It's amplified helicopter activity inside of my hotel room. And they're doing it while the light source is seen as this is engineer light. And it's supposed to be the product of what is sunlight that's outside of the window right here. Okay, this is at 6:40 where the entity is engaged in crossing path audible activity of helicopters, direct evidence of stalking in the specific environment, utilizing helicopter, which is audible activity. It's the state's engagement in the POC, posing a threat to my life as you hear it, as you see it. It is the state engaging in terrorism directly. Because the people of the state are engaging in terrorism in the shoes of the state. They thought that they were going to be able to hide the fact that they're engaging in state surveillance, but there's no hiding in the specific environment. There's no hiding amongst amplification and engineer light either. And they provide an ongoing wealth of evidence to their own demise continuously, not only letting you know how demons behave, what demons sound like, what demons look like, what demons want you to think that they are, which is normal, and they're not. Demons are psychopaths, they're sex offenders, they're stalkers. All right. And many of them engage in murder while utilizing what are methods of witchcraft. Okay. And then the government that's engaging in surveillance with them, they control the narrative to cover up such egregious conduct. This is what the government is secretly engaging in, and it's occurring across the nation. All right. So this is the engineered light source. This is the engineered environment, and this is supposed to be sunlight on my hotel wall. The entity is engaging in the same thing as I documented.
Right, this is the entity sounding helicopter activity over me. No mistake about the fact that the entity is group stalking. This is the fake sun.
So I just want to be clear. This is the fake sun that's in perfect alignment at the same time where the entity is stalking in a helicopter. At the top is at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. Same time of year analysis applies here. Where the entity is engaging in what is conduct at this library as early as 7 in the morning. Even there's video on the record. I'm standing at the same physical location, and the demon-possessed entity that's stalking in the helicopter, the Ontario Police Department, they're group stalking by sitting in plain sight, thinking that no one's ever going to know what they're doing and that no one's ever going to believe what it is that I was documenting then, and I continue to document now, that a demon will sit in a police vehicle in your face, group stalking you in your face, because no one's supposed to know the significance of what they're doing, and because they're also so delusional. And they have engaged in such a high level of delusion that they think that they can openly engage in demonic behavior and no one can see it in plain sight. Not only do you see them in the natural, stalking in plain sight because it's a specific environment that surrounds them, they are also engaging in what is terrorism while bearing weapons and being demon possessed. Both for the natural and the spiritual, which is within the P.O.C. You're going to federal prison. And literally in the same exact parking lot, the Ontario Police Department are stalking in a vehicle at 7 in the morning. It's already sitting on the record. What I'm showing here is where the light source is in perfect alignment with me in this video above at 6:41 p.m. And inside of my hotel room in MONROVIA, California, which is nowhere near Alvarado Gardens, my bedroom window at the same time. And it's also nowhere near the Ovid Family Community Library at the same time. However, what we have in common are 3 different police departments. The Los Angeles Police Department is documented group stalking in the same specific environment. We've got the MONROVIA Police Department group stalking in helicopter in a manner under a light source amongst engineer light, where there is no possible way that the sun would be in this perfect alignment with me at the same time in Ontario, California, let alone in Los Angeles. This is how you're identifying a pattern amongst the state actors that are the Los Angeles Police Department, the MONROVIA Police Department, and the Ontario Police Department. In a specific environment, I am simultaneously exposing you their secrets, not only the fact that they're malicious conspirators to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen, violent sex offenders. This is what they don't want you to know. They're demon possessed. They're demon possessed, which is the inspiration of this public corruption. This is the explanation for why you would target a young lady who is a practiced and legally trained lawyer. I have never had a relationship with crime. Ever. Never have. I went to college and I went to law school because I like order. I like rules. I have never been a criminal. And I don't have to make up anything. I don't even have to make up the fact that the government is stalking me in helicopters. I'll capture it on video. The evidence speaks for itself. The evidence is showing a pattern of conduct in the state. Everywhere I go, the specific environment is maintained and the population demonstrates the same condition, while you see things such as engineer light dragging across the buildings, dragging across the curbs while they're pacing and they want to look like they're just normal driving in traffic. This is the P.O.C. It's currently, again, 8:56 p.m. on what is, let me give the date again. It is Sunday, July 28, 2024, P.O.C.